Hello everyone, this is Patricia and today's Friday the 23rd of August, and I just thought I'd stop by. As you can see, this old, it's a replica, it's old, and it was here back in the days that they had the prisoners of war here. So back in the 40s, right? I'm going to come over here, but that must have been where they would come in and talk to somebody first when they came in. I'm not sure what that building was for, but there's a museum out in my area which I haven't gone to yet. So I'm just going to look at this, and it's the history of New Brunswick and from 1940 to 1945. Let me just come up here, and it's the size was one of 26 internment camps across Canada during World War II, and the only one in the Maritime provinces. The New Brunswick internment camp had 58 acres, and with those 58 acres was a fenced-in prisoners' compound of 15 acres. So during the Depression, this site was the location of a relief camp and still had serviceable buildings that were later used for the internment camp. The surrounding forest provided the camp with 2,500 cords of wood per year, cut by those internees to fuel the 100 stoves that were here. And the remote location of the camp on this highway, Highway 10, in Ripples, is 34 kilometers east of Fredericton, provided additional security beyond the barbed wires. So phase 1 here says that German and Austrian men between the ages of 16 and 60 were the first people based at this camp, housed at this camp. So the majority were Jewish refugees who fled Nazi Germany for England. Unaware of where the loyalty of these Jewish people lay, the British government under Prime Minister Winston Churchill asked Canada and Australia to house them. 711 refugees were interned at this camp. A year later, the British government realized that the internees posed no threat and that many people among the refugees to England and could contribute to the war effort. So these internees could either return back to England and join the military, or they could obtain a sponsor and remain in Canada or go to the United States to live. And those who did not wish to return to England or did not have a sponsor were transferred to other internment camps. Some went to gain international recognition. One individual person was Frederick Bender, an inventor who went to Ottawa, where he continued his work to waterproof plywood, which led to the development of a mosquito bomber. Wow. That was phase 1. In phase 2, it was 1941 to 1945 that the camp was closed for 3 weeks, and between those two phases, to allow for the preparation of a larger and more diverse group of POWs. During phase 2, the camp held between 900 to 1,200 prisoners of war, primarily German and Italian merchant marines captured off the coast of the Atlantic and naturalized Canadians. The Canadian internees could be accused of harboring ties with enemy nations, former German World War I veterans, or opponents to the war effort. One example was Camillien Houde, mayor of Montreal, who supported Italy and disagreed with certain Canadian government initiatives. He spent 3 years behind the barbed wire at the camps. The guards at this camp were 350 in total at any given time, who were rotated periodically among other 25 camps in Canada to prevent infraternalization with the internees. The guards were veterans of the First World War who had enlisted and been denied active duty to go into World War II, but were put on the Veterans Guard roster. The working for 20 cents a day. Wow. But that was 1941 to 45. The internees cut and hauled lumber in the surrounding forest to supply the camp with the wood required for heating. Other jobs included helping in the camp's kitchen, the hospital, the library, the canteen, and the dormitory huts. What happened to the camp? Well, after the war, 52 buildings on site were sold to individuals and to some businesses in the surrounding villages and towns. Several of the buildings are seen and used as homes or summer cottages in Minto and the Grand Lake area. The base of the water tower is the only structure remaining on site. Maybe this was the base of the water tower. Okay. So I'm just going to let you look at that. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Maybe, no, you can't see it that good. Anyway, maybe you can pull it up on your camera at home. The New Brunswick Internment Camp has a historical trail, and that's 3,500 feet long. Signs have been posted along the trail to indicate some of the original sites of landmarks, such as the mess hall. Please leave the trail as you found it, including the nature of it. Do not litter, it says. We hope you enjoy your hike. Now, my husband and I did this. The New Brunswick Internment Camp Museum Heritage Committee is not responsible for any damages incurred by the use of this trail. And out there you would see like the internees' quarters. You would see a carpentry shop, a reading room, a 2-story internees' quarters, internees' mess hall, the internee hospital, sports equipment hut, a library, trades building, a post office, recreation hut, and detention hut. The history of this display board says, the display board was crafted in 2003 by Brian Kilpatrick and the Canadian Forest Experimentation Station, which is on this highway. However, many of the materials used are from the era of the Ripples internment camp. Prisoners from the camp worked at the Acadia station during their internment, constructing buildings, retaining walls, working in the woods. The display board's large timbers are from Douglas firs that were planted in 1943 by the prisoners. The shingles are the originals from the Acadia building number 11, which was constructed by the POWs in 43. The style of this display board resembles that of the original Acadia sign, which was carved by internee Rudolph Soldendijk. He was an excellent wood carver, born in Germany, immigrated to Canada in the 30s. However, because he held a German insurance policy when World War II began, he was put into this camp as an intern. 2 of his works, the Arcadia sign and a plaque of Fort Louisburg, are on display at the museum. The museum that they have out here in Minto houses nearly 600 artifacts from the camp and occupies over 2,000 square feet. A mural in the hallway to the museum was painted by Eugene Vauteur, a local artist, to give those who enter the impression that they're walking past the rows of barbed wire that surrounded the perimeter of the camp. In addition to the many artifacts inside, visitors will see a 4x8 scale model of the camp, made by local students under the direction of Ed Cassie, a reconstructed portion of the prisoner's hut, as well as the discovery box in which children may dig for artifacts. And again, there's a trail sign here that you can go out, which I've gone out, and there's a historical trail sign over there. So this must have been where the water tower was, but I'm not sure. That's the only thing that's standing. So I just thought I would stop here today, show you this, because I've always wanted to read it and never did, even when I went in to walk the trail. My mother, as a 12-year-old, was living about 20 miles in or so, and at the time when 2 men escaped the camp, and they were at the windows of her house at nighttime, which put a scare into her. But Mom said she thought they were harmless. They probably wanted some food to eat and someplace to just rest themselves. But they stopped at her home many years ago. So God help all those men that were here, their families and their loved ones. And it's a shame what war does. So I'm just going to go over here and look at this really quick. There was a pond out there apparently as well. I'm here. You're here. Machine gun towers. A Legion, a root cellar, administration, stores, tool stores, guards room, a hospital for a dental clinic, military quarters. Anyway, you can't see these, but I'm just reading them off to you. Maybe I'll just turn it around. Maybe you can see that a little clearer. I'll go slow across it. And it says how it was. Just start here. Internment camp. And then you can just take your time and look at this. So I'm going to sign off now, but just thank everyone. I'll get back into my car. So many cars going by here right now. So God bless you all. Have a great day, for this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Be kind to everyone you meet, because you don't know what they're facing. Bye for now.